Yeah. All right, so let's get started. Welcome to the April 2022 meeting of the Mid-Atlantic Amateur Radio Club. My name is Jeremy Carlo, N2ZLQ. I'm the club president. So as we normally do, we'll do some welcomes around the room so everyone can check in.
Rich, KB3VZL, Vice President.
Brian, Alpha 3, Bravo Kilo, trustee of Club Call Sign.
I'm Tom, KC3TMT. I'm a new ham and new member to the club, 2 months, I guess, roughly.
All right, welcome.
Aboard.
Thank you.
And I'm Steve Davidson, K3FZT. I've been a member of the club about a year. I've been a ham since I was 13 years old. But with various periods of distraction, family, profession, and so forth. Now I'm an old retired guy, so I get to play radio a lot.
All right, so welcome everybody and welcome to everyone watching us on YouTube. I have a couple of quick committee reports. Lou, our treasurer, said he couldn't be here tonight, but we have $17,750.19 in the bank account. And as of the last update, we're up to 75 members.
76 as of tonight.
76, okay.
76,
so
that's the spirit.
All right, spirit is 76. All right, quick update on the repeaters. Repeaters are mostly operational at this point. Dennis has been working overtime getting everything up. So 147.06 in Newtown Square, 145.13 are once again connected. They're also connected to 445.675 in Paoli. That's running in, I'm not even sure what the status is right now. Dennis can tell you exactly. It is a fusion repeater, but to connect to the two VHF machines, it has to run in FM mode. As far as Derby goes, a little more recently, Dennis got the new repeater set up on 147.36, and the existing fusion repeater that we had is now on 444.05, which was our old 440 allocation at Derby. And we are planning to bring back the Derby 222 repeater, but I think that'll be after some work that Dennis is going to be doing to get the Derby repeaters completed and do a little bit of troubleshooting at Paoli. So I think that will occupy his time for now, but eventually we'll get everything back to full strength. All right, public service. We do have some public service events coming up. The next one would be the French Creek Triathlon, which is on May 21st. That's followed by the Radnor Memorial Day Parade, which is on May 30th, and the Penn Win Run, which is scheduled for June 12th. I don't have any more information on those right now, but I'm sure we'll be hearing from Bob in the near future. He'll tell us what's going on with those. So again, the next one coming up is May 21st. So that's about a month from now. So we'll probably be reaching out in the next couple of weeks with more information about that. So that is public service. As far as the Ham Fest goes, we do have some new information. The Ham Fest is confirmed for August 14th. That is the Sunday. We were initially planning on the Saturday, August 13th, but it turns out that for Kimberton, it's better if we do it on the 14th because that'll give us the full day before for a setup. So we're officially sanctioned with ARRL. So we're an official ARRL Ham Fest. We'll be getting some goodies from them, and we'll also be getting advertised in QST and on the ARRL website. So those plans are moving forward. As always, we will need help making the Ham Fest a success. So in the coming months, we'll be reaching out about that. And I believe we will be reserving a meeting probably in July to talk about preparations for the Ham Fest. So we'll hear a little bit more about that when that happens.
Jeremy?
Yes.
If and when someone gets the flyer finished.
It's on the website.
It's already done?
Yeah, it's
if someone could get it out, I'll get the thing going on the club's fundraising through our official channels.
Okay,
So,
that'll be great.
all righty.
Excuse me, Jeremy, did you say Hamfest is on the 14th?
The 14th, which is a Sunday.
Okay.
As far as field day is confirmed. Let me bring that up here. It will be June 25 and 26. So coming up in about 2 months, that's the official date set by the ARRL. We are reserved for the Lower Providence Fairgrounds where we normally have the event. And we do have the classroom confirmed. So we will be doing a Boy Scout Merit Badge session at field day. So we're really looking forward to that. I think as we've done in the past, we'll probably run a slightly smaller operation, probably wire antennas only, but we'll see how things go. In fact, the beam we no longer have, so that was donated to the Gloucester Club to replace the antenna that they lost in a storm last year. So I think we'll mostly be using wire antennas, but we make good contacts with that. I think especially with the sun becoming a little bit more active, hopefully we'll have active bands. And actually, Jim is just joining us now, so maybe we'll come back to field day in just a minute. So nets, give a quick update. Nets are occurring every Wednesday and Sunday, 8:30 p.m. They're generally going pretty well. We're usually averaging about 10 or so check-ins. There's always a topic, there's a question, sometimes a little bit of trivia. So it's a good net to check into. You can check in on 147.06 in Newtown Square, 145.13 in Paoli, or if you want to be a dilettante, you can check in on 445.675 and come in on UHF. So it's on all three of those frequencies. VE sessions, our next VE session is scheduled for, let me pull up the date here, May 7th. So that's about a week and a half, 2 weeks from now. So if you want any more information about that, you can contact Dick. It's k3ith@arrl.net, and he can get you scheduled for that. That'll be 9 a.m. It's a Saturday morning at the Lower Providence Township Building, which is in Eagleville. And of course, we'll be having a VE session at the Hamfest as well. So Jim, did you have anything to add about field day? So I said that we have the site confirmed and the classroom confirmed.
Other than that, we're a little early for anything else, but it is approaching quickly. So I really don't have anything unless anybody has any questions. No questions.
All right. So we do have a MARC breakfast coming up. The next one is on May 14th. That's a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. It'll be at the Country Squire Diner, which is in Newtown Square. So we did have them the last 2 months. Did anyone want to say anything about those? I was unable to make them because I had some work conflicts.
Brian, you were there. You want to say something? I had a good time.
Yeah, it was, there was only 4 of us, I believe. So,
Yes.
yeah, just sat around and chatted on a bunch of topics, most of which were ham related.
Yep.
And we had breakfast, which was also ham related.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and the 4 was double the first breakfast when we came back. We had 2, 4, so we'll have 8 next time.
Yeah, we got to continue that trend.
Yes.
Well, every
Well,
year.
that's assuming it's geometric. Suppose it's only linear. We'll
Okay.
only have 6.
It'll be 6. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll turn that over to you, Brian. You're the math man.
Well, every year at the Ham Fest, we do get people who roll up and ask where the ham is.
Yeah.
That is funny.
So I know Bob is hard at work. So he's working with Kimberton to get everything confirmed, and also working on getting a food vendor, which I think will be nice. Last year, we kind of had to wing it, and we had food delivered on site, which worked, but not as well as we'd like. So we'd really like to have someone on site providing food. So hopefully we'll be able to do that But, last year was kind of extreme. We kind of got that together at the last minute, and I was amazed how well that actually worked. So that's the breakfast, May 14th. I'll give a little update on upcoming programs. Next month, we'll have Dennis, K3DS, and he'll be talking about modeling antennas using free software. So I think that should be fun. June, we'll have a meeting to talk about Field Day. So I think the fourth Tuesday in June is actually after Field Day. And the way time works is it's better to have the meeting beforehand. So I think the June meeting will move it to the week before, which I believe is June 21st. Jim, do you think that would be a good time?
That would actually be perfect. It'll keep it fresh in everybody's mind. We can go over the last minute details, make sure, and anybody that has questions, any of the new members or whatever, that's perfect. Yes.
So the Tuesday before Field Day. So that'll be
Yes.
June 21st. So I think we'll move the meeting till then.
Okay.
All right. So I think that finishes any information that I have. Does anyone have anything else for the club? All right. If not, we'll move on to our main presentation for the evening. I've been looking forward to this for a while. We'll have Steve, K3FZT, and he's going to be telling us about WinLink, which is a way to use amateur radio to access email. It's used quite often by MCOM groups and by others. So it's something that I don't know much about. I think that sentence I just said is about the limit of my understanding. So I'm looking to expand that exponentially. So please join me in welcoming Steve.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jeremy. I was an academic for most all my career, and I gave lots of talks, and I swore to myself and my wife that upon retirement, I wasn't about to be out there tooting my horn. And then Jeremy came along and twisted my arm. Little help from Jim in a separate conversation, but so here I am. And let me see if I could share my screen here. It says you've disabled participant screen sharing.
I just enabled it.
Just enabled it. There you go. Okay. So let me, this is the screen I want to share. And there we go. Actually, it's not the screen I want to share.
I think we have the presenter view.
Yep. Let me start again. This is the one I want to share. How's that?
That's good.
Great.
So, WinLink Global Email is about email, and it's by hams and for hams. What I'd like to try to cover this evening, and it will not be exhaustive, and we're a small group. So if folks have questions, please jump in. I assure you I will be very humble. I do not count myself as a real WinLink guru. I am an early learner in the world of WinLink. But I'll give you a little history. Talk about the WinLink network as hams use it, and briefly touch upon other WinLink networks that hams don't use, although some might. We all have our own jargon, so I'll cover some of that. Gateways, already with the jargon. WinLink Express software, which is the tool that is used on Windows computers to send and receive WinLink email through gateways. What's going on with emergency communication in the last year or two? There's been a fair amount of consolidation around WinLink. I'd like to do a demonstration of sending and receiving a message. I'm going to do it by Telnet, not on the radio. And I must apologize, but this past Friday, folks working on my property pulled down a guy wire that was helping maintain my 45-foot pole for my WinLink VHF gateway. So my gateway is off the air because of misadventure with guy wires. And we'll go on from there. So even before there was real email, there was this AP link, Amtor packet link that worked with the DOS mailbox program. WinLink Classic was developed by Victor Port, W5SMM, and really a guy by the name of Steve Waterman, who is still quite active, and Jim Jennings really created NetLink. A lot of its use during that time was by open sea sailors. Sailors who were out of sight of land could send and receive email, and early on that included weather reports and even weather maps. Airmail was developed to make it easy for sailors at sea to do that. With this active development, there was a great deal of effort to consolidate what was going on and make it easier for users. And that resulted in WinLink 2000, which is the overall infrastructure that's in use today. So let me give you a bit of an idea about that, at least the amateur radio version. So first off, we all depend on Amazon to one degree or another. During the pandemic, I suspect many of you have had Amazon deliveries. And the WinLink infrastructure is built on Amazon Web Services for the centralized mail server system. However, this network is called the WinLink Hybrid Network because, can you see my pointer here? Do you see my pointer?
I don't see it.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, in the middle, it says radio only. Do you see that radio only?
Yes.
So that radio only is telling you that these radio mail servers can, if the internet is disconnected, these radio mail servers can talk to one another and relay mail without the benefit of the internet. And that's the robust reality of difficult times that makes WinLink special for amateur radio, because these radio links are done on amateur high frequencies and they move mail slower, but they do move mail. Day in, day out, most of we users have various client stations. We may have, as I have, a VHF, UHF client here where I'm sitting right now, actually on the computer with this screen. This is the first time I've ever done a Zoom presentation with this screen. You may see behind me my office computer, which is where I'm usually on Zoom. But I have done HF connections, but I do not have an HF gateway. Of course, at the moment, I don't have a VHF gateway either, but I expect to have that up in about 2 weeks' time. I think I've lined up people to get my pole back up in the air. And
Can you raise the picture a little bit so we can see the bottom?
I wish I could.
Oh, okay.
I've
Make it a little
given
smaller.
you, in the last slide in the set, if you look all the way to the right on the line with client stations, you'll see N5TIM. And that's the fella who did this. And I've given you a link on the last slide to the document that it contains this diagram.
Okay.
But there are other WinLink.
Where are the local radio? Could you go back to the pre-chart?
Sure.
So we have, if I can make it out, you have a either UHF or you have some kind of radio connection. Okay. And you connect to a server like you would on any server, any radio relay setup. You just have to have a radio relay that has this, it's set up as an RMS.
Correct.
So you go from your, and that's what I can't see in the picture. Do you go from your computer to your radio using this WinLink software client on your laptop?
Yes.
So you download the WinLink client to your laptop or whatever, hook that up to the radio like you would a digital network, and then communicate like you would if you were using some kind of digital mode.
That's exactly it.
Okay. Where are the local RMS servers? You're going to get to that later.
Well, the RMS, the local RMS servers in the immediate vicinity are interestingly mostly in Chester County.
Okay. Doesn't surprise me.
KB3PCY, N3 MEL. When mine is back up, I have pretty good coverage to Western Montgomery County and Delaware County and most all of Philadelphia. My dead spots are to the northwest because Chestnut Hill is a bigger hill than Mount Airy. But let me see if this is going to, this is not going to work well for me because I can't, I'm trying to enlarge make my pen bigger. And here you see your WinLink Express computer connection and your high frequency transceiver or a VHF, UHF transceiver. Okay, but there are other networks other than the amateur radio network. There's a maritime network that is mostly, if not exclusively, conducted on amateur radio frequencies by hobby sailors on offshore sailing. Yes, satellite and other newer technologies have taken some of this activity, but it remains a cornerstone, according to my sister, who has captained offshore vessels and currently sails a Tartan 38. And she knows many amateur radio operators who are sailors. There's a federal system called SHARES, which I know next to nothing about, except that it is a backup tool and it regularly gets exercised at various emergency training exercises. There is MARS, of course.
Question.
Sure.
In the maritime system, you say they operate with international amateur radio frequencies.
Yeah.
Which means you'd have to have a ham at
Yes,
the.
of course.
But there doesn't seem to be any physical reason why the system couldn't work with the maritime frequencies.
I can't answer that. I can just tell you that if you look at the various offshore sailing groups, they all talk about amateur radio and they're
Okay.
all hams.
Okay. Are the stations the RMS stations for the maritime, are they land-based?
Yeah, of course. They're
opposed to space-based.
they're the same RMS stations that others use. The
you'd probably want
have
HF?
hit 80 and 40 meter RMS gateways. There are a few 160 and a few 10 meter. There are many 20 meter RMS stations, which I'm sure doesn't surprise you. And of interest, there's a fair number on the work bands on 30, 17, and 12.
Yeah, I didn't hear any VHF in there, so that probably answers why they don't use the VHF.
Yeah, well, if you're in the middle of the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean, yeah, you don't have much coverage with VHF, UHF.
Yeah, except through satellite. But if you were doing coastal routes, and quite a bit of at least the civilian amateur, so the civilian maritime folks stay within radio line of sight ashore.
Sure, and the open water sailors also have maritime mobile, typically have maritime mobile hardware and licenses. And when within line of sight of shore, that's what they switch to. But what maritime mobile doesn't provide is weather maps,
Right.
expected location reporting. I'm not going to be able to do all of this tonight, but many folks, especially the folks in MCOM, have a GPS dongle hooked up to their radio and can very easily shoot off a location when they're far outside of APRS coverage, for example. Continuing a little bit about, just throw some quick jargon around, the WinLink hybrid network is this network which can be in fallback mode radio only. I put up the open message viewer because just like all amateur radio communication is public, so too is all WinLink email. It is all available. You can sit and read WinLink emails from everywhere at this link. And people do, and people report bad behavior. And people who behave badly lose their WinLink privileges. TNC, or terminal node controller, was the piece of hardware back in the day that folks used. These days, pretty much the only hardware that is widely, to the degree it is widely used, is PACTOR, which is a commercial product manufactured by a company called SDS out of Germany. And there's a lot of scrutiny of PACTOR because PACTOR 4 is not currently legal in the United States. Although, for example, when a recent hurricane hit Puerto Rico, the FCC allowed the use of PACTOR 4 for a period of about 30 days. By and large, most hams are using soft modems, software modems running on the computer. And jump down a few and you'll see VARA FM and VARA HF written by a Spanish ham and increasingly widely used on WinLink and has very much been displacing packet radio on WinLink. WinLink Express is the current version of the client software, and WinLink Express, depending on the soft modem or TNC you are using, launches a session manager, and the session manager on high frequency will afford cat control of the radio. Packet is, as I said, being generally at a national level somewhat pushed to the side, though locally, Glenn N3MEL has corralled a group of folks, about 8-10 folks, who are once or twice a month undertaking a packet exercise in an effort to revitalize the use of packet. Again, I just want to make it clear that while it's slower, WinLink will function in a radio-only mode. The RMS gateway is required to operate 24 by 365 hours and can only be authorized by WinLink leadership. Requires that you have been a user and have sent messages and received messages through the system. Emergency power is highly desirable. My station, I wrote it up. It's on the January issue of the Philmont Blurb, their newsletter, and it's been accepted for publication in the ARRL's experimental journal, AEX or something. So it will be published there as well. I do have emergency power supplied by battery in the barn, and I have 2 backhauls for my network so that if FiOS fails, Comcast will take over. WinLink Express and AirMail are both Windows clients. There is a Raspberry Pi, pardon the misspelling, a client that is available that will run on Debian Linux on other machines as well. In the event that you can't reach a gateway, at least when the internet is up, you can use Telnet WinLink to connect, and I will demonstrate that for you shortly. There are a bunch of different connection modes. As you see, there's even connections via the satellite phone, and RDOP is built into WinLink. WinMore was an earlier version that's been deprecated. This is the main screen of WinLink Express software. You can see the system folders up here. You can have personal folders. And what you're seeing here is a typical layout of messages. The drop-down box here is where you choose the mode and so forth. And I'll take you through it on a live screen in just a moment. A lot of people are talking about emergency communication with WinLink. And the American Red Cross Disaster Services technology is heavily directing its chapters to focus on WinLink email in preference to voice, transcribed radiograms, fax, and other means of moving text. The ARRL, in its National Traffic System Methods and Practices Guideline, specifies WinLink 2000 radio email as the preferred means of moving standardized forms for the incident command system structure as FEMA teaches it, and others. This is, at the same time, you may be aware that the ARRL hired a national ARES coordinator for the first time, National Emergency Coordinator. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to figure out how to stop sharing. And I'm going to bring up my WinLink client, and then I'm going to share again, or I'm going to try to. Where?
Now, maybe this is a dumb question, but when you're using this, can you use your regular email account, or is it a separate email account for WinLink only?
That's a great question. It's not a bad question at all, Jeremy. The short version is your email account on WinLink is your call at winlink.org. And others can write to you at that email address. And you know,
So it's a
little
separate email
confused
account.
with what I'm trying to do here. I'm not,
Okay.
I've been more a participant than a presenter, so you have to bear with me as I figure this out. So I'm sharing this. Do you see my WinLink?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to make it full screen. You see it
Does
now?
WinLink have an automatic forwarding?
Excuse me?
Does WinLink have an automatic forwarding
Yes.
property?
Yes, by logging into winlink.org with your username, which is your call, and your password, you can create an auto forward, or you can terminate your auto forward. And there are other profile adjustments you can make on winlink.org. But to create an account, you must install WinLink Express and start the process in WinLink Express. So what you see here on this screen is, and I'm going to shrink it back from full screen. Okay. So what you see here is the WinLink client. And this is set at the moment to saved items, but you have an inbox. Here is my inbox. And I'm going to very simply do a demonstration here of making a request from the catalog. And the catalog I'm going to request from is the United States weather for Pennsylvania, which you can see in this section labeled selections. And I'm going to create a message. I'm going to Outbox, and you see that there's a message, an inquiry. And I'm going to open a WinLink session. I'm going to start, and I sent my inquiry. Now, I did this as well just before we started the meeting, or I logged on to Zoom at a couple minutes past 7. So I've received one message, and if I go to my inbox, you'll see that the top line is dark. That's a unread message. And what's there is Pennsylvania Western, Erie, Franklin, Indiana, Latrobe, Pennsylvania Central, Pennsylvania Eastern, Philadelphia, weather, tomorrow, partly cloudy, low of 46, high of 56, etc. Now, you know, in Philly, you have TV, you have the radio, you have a million different websites. But if you're in the middle of the ocean, or you're fighting a fire in the backwoods of Oregon, and you don't have access to other networks, this is important content for making decisions on what you're going to do about your firefighting or your travel or what have you. So this is about what I thought I could manage to share with you today. I'd be happy to answer let me get this up again. And I'm back again in the problem of how do I new share. There we go. Well, that ain't working for me.
Here's a question. About how long does it typically take to get a response to that query for the weather?
Very fair question. Let's see. I've been drawn for what, 5 minutes?
Mhm.
Here it is again. Message received. The new one came back at 13 minutes past the hour. So these queries, which go, go in pretty quickly. Even with my VHF gateway up and running, you understand that the back end of my gateway is the internet connection. So that's that goes pretty quickly.
I guess you're limited by the data rate on the VHF.
Yeah, with VARA, it's not much of a limit for short messages. The whole system, WinLink imposes a limit of 120 kilobytes on all messages, including any attachments. WinLink will handle attachments, both images, text, and structured attachments, databases, spreadsheets, etc. So what I tried to do was just give you that this is more like a 30,000-foot view of what WinLink is and generally how it operates. The drive for its use is all about emergency communication. Some of you may or may not know that my profession for 43 years was as an emergency physician. And for the period from 1983 to 1994, I was medical director for the Philadelphia Fire Department. So I have a fair amount of experience and have written a few chapters on pre-hospital emergency care, large mass gathering care, and so forth. So thus my interest in emergency communication comes really out of my background. What I do have, and I'm happy to share the whole PowerPoint deck. I'll turn it into a PDF and send it to you, Jeremy, if you want to put it up on, I don't know whether you put them on the website or share it in the email group.
Yeah, if you send it to me.
Here is a bunch of links. And if anyone is interested, I can tell you that for me, having learned the bare bones of the basic mechanics of operation, it is WinLink Wednesday and WinLink Thursday, where every week, except for some weeks during the summer and at holiday time, there are practice activities. WinLink Wednesday is run by Southern New Jersey Aries, and WinLink Thursday is a national group. They call themselves the MCOM Training Group. N5TIM's document here is just superb. And he's a heck of a nice guy. So if you have questions, he'll answer them much more uh, with much greater sophistication than I can bring to bear. But I hope I've exposed you to an overview of what's going on here. Thanks for your attention. I'm happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you, Steve. This is, for me anyway, it was a nice introduction about what I was looking for.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, it's really good. I went to the WinLink site to read the history, and it is interesting. It looks like it started off predominantly as a text messaging rather than email. And in 98, they decided it needed to have more. So it's kind of interesting to see how it's evolved. And actually, there's a member of this club, Donna Farron, who is not on tonight, but she and her husband are planning on sailing through the Atlantic, down the coast of Africa and around. And she's been researching this stuff. So I'd be curious to get her thoughts too. It's amazing.
Very
If she
cool.
gave a presentation to us a few years back, maybe we'll get her to give another presentation on sailing.
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually about her experience in sailing, not just theoretical. It was what the practical issues were with that kind of hobby. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah, I've been my dad got his 3 offspring into sailing. My sister is the one who's gone the farthest with it. She had a captain's certificate, and she continues to race, mostly same-day races in Tampa Bay area, but has done some open water racing. Her daughter, my niece, is a part of the sailing team at Cornell. In the junior America's Cup, my niece's boat was 3rd. And so
Very impressive.
we've yeah, I don't own a boat, you know. It's interesting, when I started when I restarted my interest in amateur radio and equipping a shack, I had a sit-down conversation with my wife, and when I paused, she looked at me and said, "What's the problem? It sounds like it's a lot less expensive than a boat."
That's so true. I just sold my boat and Donna's boat. We were both down in the bay, and the folks around us were either blue water cruisers or blue water racers. And they were all predominantly single sideband, but every single one of them had a mechanism to get charts and weather updates, because that's really what they're most worried about.
Yeah,
Communication's nice, but they really just want to know what's going on around them. And
exactly.
And you're right. They have, I mean, the software side of it is really amazing, the things they've come up with. This is really impressive. I'm glad you did this.
So I will turn this into a PDF and send it to you, Jeremy, for whatever is appropriate.
Right, yeah, send it to Dennis as well, because he'll put it on the website.
Okay. And that's all I got.
Let me another stupid question. It's called WinLink. Does that mean you have to use a Windows computer, or are there clients available for Macs and Linux?
So the short version is the sanctioned clients and soft modems are all for Windows. However, there is a Debian client. There is the Go client that I gave reference to for the Raspberry Pi, there's a Go client that will run on Mac. However, the soft modems like Vara HF and Vara FM are Windows only. And Jose in Spain has repeatedly refused to take them to other operating systems. It is, however, for people who are really into this, what they basically do is run Vara on a very low power Windows box. It'll run on a $175 B-Link Windows box, and you connect to it over Ethernet, and you just open a port in WinLink to make the connection, and or not in WinLink, in the Debian client or in whatever other software you're running. So that's a way of running Vara with locally a Linux or Mac machine.
All right, thanks, Steve. Are there any other questions for Steve?
Thanks for your patience with me. This literally is the first time I've done a Zoom talk, and figuring out how share works with, I have two monitors here. I have a tiny little one that I set up for the purpose, and it kind of threw me a little. Most of the time I'm using my Mac behind me. This is my Ham Shack PC. So thank you, Jeremy.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you all.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Are you able to unshare your screen?
I am sure. How's that?
All right.
Yep.
All right, thanks. That was great. I think Bob has joined us since the talk started. So I don't know if he had anything to add about public service or about the Ham Fest.
Yeah, not a whole lot, probably extra to add. Just about the Ham Fest. Just be prepared. We're going to be hopefully getting some Ham Fest flyers tomorrow. It's been kind of like pulling teeth trying to get them. Last year, the printer was very helpful and got them to us within a day, and now it's been going on 4 days with this year. I don't know what the difference is. I guess I should have remembered who I talked to or something at the printers. But anyway, we're going to have a lot of Hamfest flyers to take to Hamfests. And so we're going to need people to help with distributing Hamfest flyers. And of course, as the time gets closer, we'll have more places that you can help out with the actual Hamfest, different things to do on different days. And hopefully we'll get lots of people to help with that, with the Hamfest. And as far as public service goes, we've got, I guess, 3 public service events coming up. We have the Penguin 5K, which is going to be in June. And of course, I don't have my paper in front of me, do I? No, probably not. Anyway, then we have the Radnor Memorial Day Parade, which is Memorial Day Monday, which is, I think, the 30th. Yep, it's May 30th. And we also have the French Creek Racing Triathlon, and that's going to be on May 21st, Saturday, May 21st. So if anybody's interested, let me know, and we will get you signed up. We're just trying to get more information on some of these events and so forth. Most of the, or at least one of the events, the Penguin 5K is of course in June. And so that's a very different date than we were used to. So we'll have to see how that one goes. And so I guess that's kind of the story on public service. So there you have it, Hamfest and public service. So
Hey, Bob,
I guess that's about all I have. Yeah, go ahead.
please send the poor hardworking webmaster those dates so I can post them.
I
Okay,
think they're already up on the public service
Oh,
page.
really? Goes to show you.
The dates are there, but there's no information
Okay.
about
Yeah.
times or anything like that.
Well, if you could send me more, I'll fix it up, as they used to say.
yeah.
And Bob, do you know if that French Creek Triathlon, what they need? Is it like they have aid stations, or is it just, do you have any idea what it is at all?
Yeah, they have they have three events, of course, because it's a triathlon. They have a swim, and we're not particularly involved with the swim. We are involved with the bicycles and the foot race. That goes out onto the road, as in the road surrounding French Creek State Park. So that's pretty much primarily where we would be focusing our efforts, is on the bike and the run routes for the triathlon.
So we're not getting in the water? 'Cause
No.
I have a waterproof radio. It even has a rubber ducky.
Well, the ARL hasn't come out with ARL approved Speedos yet, so we'll probably take a pass on that.
Yeah, I think that's a bad idea. We should.
Given the median age
Yeah.
of amateurs.
I'm not sure Speedos
The
are,
median age of our club.
yeah.
Will it be the same color as the vests?
Yeah.
You know,
All right, thanks, Bob. Dennis, you joined us. Did you have anything to add? Repeaters or any of your other many hats?
Oh, nothing to add at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I just updated on all the repeaters being up to speed. And
As speedy as they can possibly be. I only wish there could be more people using them, because we do have an intermittent problem, and it's intermittently hard to trace down if nobody's using them. But we'll keep working at it.
all right, sounds good. All right, does anyone have anything else for the meeting?
Just a real quick question. I'm obviously new to the club. I went through the website, but do you have any kind of groups that focus on either parks on the air or summits on the air?
Probably the best guy to talk to is John, K3JH. He's very active with summits on the air. If you check into any of the nets, he's almost always on. K3JH is called.
Great, thanks.
I know there are some people who do POTA and SOTA activations, so you can always throw that out on one of the nets, and you'll probably hear back from some folks.
Yeah, when it's your turn to talk on the net, just bring the topic up. Say, hey, you're interested in on the air activities, and who can help?
Right.
I mean, they're really interesting videos on YouTube. You can see all sorts of people doing it, and there's some great instructions on how to go at it. But I don't think there's any substitute for just finding somebody who's doing it and going along to watch it once. And that's really my goal.
It's also more fun if you go with a group.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, now that I think of it, John gave a presentation last year to our club. In fact, it might have been last March or April, something like that. So if you check our YouTube archive, you can find his presentation.
Great, thanks, I will. Thank
A
you.
through JH. Don't remember what month it is offhand, but I think it was about last spring. So March, April, something. in that.
Jeremy,
Yeah,
can you take a look at the, when you get a chance, look at the MARC Field Day page? And might need a little brushing up here. Grayed out is the fact that, you know, you can come out with your family and have a picnic. I don't know if we want to do that. Also, whether we're having the radio merit badge is still in red. So if you
yeah,
don't-
we will. We're planning on that.
I can't fix anything. You know, I'd like to have people confirm that I'm supposed to fix it. So
Yeah.
take a look at that. All right.
Yeah,
I
as
just,
far as the
I just
registration-
updated the membership page. So people that were grayed out are no longer in residence, as they say. So there you go.
Elvis has left the building.
Yes.
Yeah, as far as the times for the scouts, I think we'll leave it the same as it was before. Registration deadline will probably be about 2 weeks prior to field day. You can pick an exact date.
I will
Yeah.
take a look at it. Just let me know.
Yeah, stuff about members and their families, sure, we can have people come out. You know, last year we were a little bit more limited in terms of, trying to keep things small, but I think we'll be fairly normal this year. Which might be the first time we were ever normal. All
I
right,
try to get recertified as a merit badge counselor, but they changed their website and I couldn't find where the sign up page is. And I call them and they're not answering their phones and they don't return the calls. So
You,
if anybody
you have to
has better contact, I was calling Chester County Council.
yeah, I'm Cradle of Liberty, but you have to fill out a Boy Scout application to become you have to fill out a new application if you were dropped from the ranks.
So you got to start from scratch.
Yes.
Your old membership doesn't count.
Nope.
Okay, fair enough.
No, if you dropped, apparently you're telling me you dropped from the ranks of merit badge counselor?
Well, if you don't use it for a year, they drop you. I
Okay,
didn't do it deliberately. They did
Right.
it administratively.
yes, so you have to fill out a new application with clearances and everything.
Okay.
Sorry to say, Brian, but I'm sure it's the same in Chester County Council, but that's the way we do it in Cradle of Liberty.
Where's Cradle of Liberty?
That's the Philadelphia area. It's up in Valley Forge. So,
Yeah, I just used Chester County because my grandson was in scouting there.
yeah, no, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure they're the same. It's fairly consistent across the country. And
Yeah, I would think so.
they're very strict about merit badge counselors, you know, having applications, clearances and everything like that. So,
Yeah, it's no problem getting those clearances.
no.
I had to go through this at the church. I had to go through it the last time with Boy Scouts, so I don't have a problem there.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of getting the right form.
Yeah, it's usually they bury it in their website somewhere.
I'll look again because I was not looking for a start from scratch. I was looking for sign in because you're a member. Okay,
I don't think that's going to work, but that's,
okay, fair enough. No, I'll start over again. Just need to know what the process is.
all right. So anything else?
Thanks for that.
Anything else for the meeting? All right, if not, we'll close this meeting. So we'll look forward to seeing you next month or at any other MARC events, any of the Nets upcoming, the breakfast, which will be on the 14th. We've got VE session on May 7th. So hopefully we'll see you soon, either in person or on the air.